to the Wasting Time podcast. This is episode 31. How's it going, Chris?
It's going good, Nick. How's it going with you, mate?
I'm alright, yeah. I'm a bit hungover. Let's stag do this weekend, so, a bit fragile.
It's the end of summer and stuff.
Yeah, what about you? You've been away on holiday?
Yeah, I was just away in the south of France with my family last week, which was a fun time. And I'm just getting ready up for the new sort of academic year at my work and stuff. So it's busy times, really. But yeah, I'm doing good, man. Doing good. What else is new with you?
Not much. I hear there's a bit of an update on Finstock, though.
Are you talking about? Well, of course you're talking about the band that I was in.
Right. Yeah. So what's going on there?
Yeah. I try not to talk about my other musical adventures too much on this show, but I was kind of questioning whether I wanted to be part of that band. You know, nothing against the guys or anything, but just like I suppose throwing myself more so into this and just not personally feeling the songs that we'd been writing. So just kind of took a step back from it. Go on.
So what's happening? Are they gonna try and keep that going, or do you think that's just that's it for?
No. Last I spoke, they were trying out 2 new members just last week, which I hear went well. So have to see how that goes because the bassist whose solo work we've discussed on here before, he's also left. So
well, good luck to them.
Yeah, good luck to them indeed. Yeah.
Well, talking about other people leaving bands, I see Kellen Quinn, our previous guest,
yes.
singer of Sleeping with Sirens. I see they part away with their drummer. I don't know if that was announced today or a couple of days ago.
Weirdly, it was on. It came up on my girlfriend's Facebook suggested posts of all places, and like I clocked that. I didn't have a chance to read the article. Was it on amicable terms or? It seems
to be. It seems a bit mysterious. He's just saying, after 10 years, I'm leaving the band and proud of every moment kind of thing. Yeah. Just thanking people and moving on to his next venture kind of thing. And Sleeping Sirens put up a statement just kind of saying, we loved kind of working with him, but they've been growing apart musically. So I don't know if maybe he's going on to a different project maybe.
Okay.
Just reiterating that there's no hard feelings. And they're just wishing him success, I guess. So.
Oh, fair enough. We're going to have their long awaited album at the time of recording this Friday, so I'm curious to hear what that sounds like.
Yeah, exactly. There's actually another album coming out on Friday that I'm keen to hear.
What's that?
Because it was, I don't know if you're actually into this band or not. You know the band Grayscale?
Yeah, I know Grayscale. They're like a pop punk band, aren't they?
Yeah, but they've released like a third song off their new album, which is coming out on Friday, called Baby Blue. Have you heard that?
No, I listened to, I think, the first single they released from this upcoming album, but no.
Yeah, they've released 2. They had released 2 already, and then they've dropped this kind of third one before the album on Friday. And I wasn't too fussed by those first 2, but this new one's I think it's a real good track. So
I'll check it out. Is it like their usual kind of sound?
Yeah, but it's it's quite kind of, I guess, a bit dance kind of poppy kind of. Yeah, it's cool.
Okay.
Kind of reminds me a bit of the 1975 kind of early stuff.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So yeah, give that a listen.
Yeah, I liked a couple of songs on their last full length. So yeah, I'll be curious to hear that.
Did you? I know we got Tony Lovato on the podcast today.
Yeah.
Today? Do we say today?
We can say today, yeah, might as well. Even though it kind of makes sense, but
even though it was a few days ago,
yeah.
He did a recent tour with Bowling for Soup. Did you see? Did you see the rewrite of? Was it Girl? I've forgotten the name of the track now. All the bad guys want. Girl, all the bad guys want. Girl, all the bad guys want.
Nice and smooth then. Right. Yeah, girl, all the bad guys want. No, what did they do? They rewrote that song or something. Well, did they update the lyrics or something?
Yeah. No, they were at Leeds or Reading, weekend before last?
Yeah, yeah.
And they've done like an updated version. They did like acoustic for like Radio 1. Go and listen to it. It's quite funny.
Oh, okay. I'll check it.
It references like the UFC and Tinder and Young Blood actually. So yeah,
okay, I'll definitely check that out.
It's a good giggle worth listening anyway.
Speaking of re-recording things, did you see Senses Fail are releasing a re-recorded version of their first EP this Friday?
Is that got that Bastard Son on it?
Yeah, so they re-recorded and put out a video.
I saw the video for that. Yeah,
what do you think?
No, I mean, they've never really been my cup of tea.
Yeah,
a couple of tracks here and there, but yeah, I'd watch the video anyway. The Bastard Son video. Yeah, he hasn't aged at all. That guy. He still looks like similar. He still looks like he was on kind of drive through Warped Tour days. Right. He's done well, to be fair.
Have you seen any gigs recently or anything? So I know it's been a few weeks since we put out an episode.
No, I did see what they're called, Patent Pending run in Newcastle a couple of weeks ago, but I didn't manage to get to that.
Didn't make it along.
Yeah, I mean, we don't get much up here, so
yeah,
not as much opportunity as you. What about you?
Well, I went to see Poppy, who's been discussed on this show before, with some kind of like showcase show in London Bridge. That was interesting.
Yeah, I can imagine it was. I mean, it's not for me. I listened to one song that started all melodic and then turned into like a Slipknot song. Yeah,
she does that on a few songs.
Yeah.
It's not boring to watch. I'll give it that.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed it, to be honest with you. Yeah, and it looks like she's just getting bigger and bigger. So it was kind of, it was kind of a novelty to see her in a small venue like that. It's also quite funny. Go on, sorry.
I was going to say you Dan Pratt got chatting with what's his name from Radio 1.
Friend of ours, for the listener, friend of ours spotted Daniel P. Carter of Radio 1 rock show fame and just went and chewed his ear off. I'm sure bored the fuck out of him. And it's funny, he came back and I was like, yeah, it's funny to think that Daniel P. Carter, he's friends with X, Y, and Z, and then I kind of turned to say something else and he was already gone back over to talk at him.
Oh, good old Dan.
Yeah.
Well done, Dan.
And in terms of other new music, I'm trying to think what else I've been listening to. A couple of new Simple Creatures songs because they got a new EP coming out. Wasn't really feeling those though, to be honest. I don't know if you would have checked them out because you haven't been that impressed with them, really, have you?
No. I've seen it land, but yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
I haven't bothered, to be honest with you. I did see the Blink brought out their video for the
Dark Side.
It is Dark Side, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
But, I mean, yeah, it's nothing groundbreaking, is it, on the video front? But still a good track anyway.
And another thing, just kind of bit off kilter for us. I've been listening to loads of Bruce Springsteen recently because I saw that movie Blinded by the Light, which I just absolutely loved and I can't recommend enough.
Well, we were going to go and see it. It was a toss-up between that or the new Tarantino film.
And you went Tarantino.
We went Tarantino, but yeah, that Springsteen film's definitely on the list.
Yeah, try and see it while it's at the cinema, mate. I think you'll really like it.
But yeah, no, we'll get to see Blinded by the Light.
Yeah, definitely recommend that. And back onto more familiar ground. Have you got any? I know you said not that much comes through Newcastle, but is there anything of note coming through in the next few months?
Look, the Firebolt tour's coming, so the plan is to get to that. Less than Jake, Goldfinger, and I don't know who else it is.
Save Ferris are on that.
So hoping to get to that. The Skints, I'm a fan of the Skints.
Yes, yeah.
So they're over here. I've got Menzingers, but that's not
that's
until
a while
next
away,
year.
Isn't it? Yeah.
But yeah, I need to have a look. Have you got anything? Got anything in diary yet?
I have like yourself the Fireball thing, so I'll see that when it comes through Brixton.
Where are they playing it?
Brixton Academy at the end of this month, and then slightly off the genre we cover, but I'm going to see Hootie and the Blowfish in October, which should be fun.
Nice. Well, they're all good, always good fun, yeah.
Oh yeah, got plenty of good songs, and then Sleeping with Sirens in November.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that should be cool.
Did you not try and tap up a guest list for that one?
I didn't want to make any assumptions. I know we discussed this on the last episode, like whether we're in a place with people like that where you can. I just thought, yeah, I'll just get a ticket. Because they're playing quite a small venue for them as well, so I didn't want it to sell out and then to unsuccessfully ask for guest lists. Yeah, Electric Ballroom, which I would have thought they're bigger than, but...
Okay, cool. Should we get into it with our guest anyway?
Yeah, so as you mentioned earlier, we have Tony Lovato today, who's the front man of the pop punk band Mest, who both you and I are long-time fans of. So this was quite an exciting one for us, I think that's fair to say.
Yeah.
And like we've been kind of messaging Tony for a little bit, and like we eventually got a date nailed down, and we spoke to him a couple of weeks ago, and he gave us lots of his time and told lots of cool stories, and I really enjoyed this one. So here it is. Okay, so we are joined by Tony Lovato, talking to us from LA. Am I right there, Tony? Are you based in LA?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, it's a little east of LA, but yeah, pretty much LA.
You were out because obviously we were going to talk at the weekend, but you were out of town this weekend. How was your weekend away? Where did you get to?
So a buddy of mine who does some of our weekend tour managing, and he helps me from when I'm on the road. He'll help me via email and keep shit intact on the road. So he sort of tour manages us a little bit, but we've become extremely good friends over the past couple of years.
Okay.
He lives out there, and my guitarist Adrian, who plays with me, he wanted to head out there for the weekend, so we just went to what used to be the Hard Rock Casino out there, but somebody bought it out, and just got a hotel room for a couple of days, and
nice. Was it a good time?
Blacked out a couple nights, got about 2 hours sleep, and gambled, won some money, and drank our fucking faces off.
Sounds fun. I actually met that Adrian guy like last time you were coming through London. He plays in that band. What is it? Assume We Survive?
Assuming We Survive.
That's the one. Yeah. He's a cool guy. And like, he was just saying how much he loves, like touring with Mest because like he grew up on you guys, so.
Yeah. He actually lives with me now.
Oh, really? Oh, sweet.
Yep.
Yeah. I was just going to say, you're not too long off tour now, right? You've been out on the road with Real Big Fish and bowling with Soup. Is that right?
Yeah, Real Big Fish Bowling for Soup just ended. August 3rd was the last date in Denver, Colorado. And then we came home. I had to rush home because my son had his first day of kindergarten August 5th.
Right.
So I've been home since August 5th and trying to get my life in order for a couple of weeks. And then we head back out. I think the first show is September 12th, maybe. I just posted it. I don't know. But it's a week of shows in September. It's pretty much just the West Coast. It's us and Millencolin. And we do 3 shows around here, which we're literally going to play the shows and then drive back home because they're so close to the house. I mean, one is an hour away, one's 40 minutes away, and one is an hour and 20 minutes away. So,
okay, that's useful.
And then we just head straight up west, and we're doing I think San Francisco, Sacramento, and then we got Seattle, Portland, and Bend, Oregon, and then head back home. So 7 days, 7 shows, all West Coast. But I'm stoked to do it. I love Millencolin. I love their new record. So
yeah, it's great. I feel like it probably gets back to like pop punk roots. That record. Have you toured with them before?
No, we did. I've never met the guys. We did do Warped Tour in 03 or 05. They were on some of the dates. So I'd go and watch them every day, but never chatted with them at all. But looking forward to the 7 days. And I mean, like you said, that new record is definitely back to the more of the punk rock roots and everything. Yeah. But it's just fucking great, man. I love it. Short and sweet. I think the record's 33 minutes long or some shit.
I just want to point out as well, we've done a bunch of these shows so far, and we spoke to a bunch of people that we're big fans of, and maybe some people that we're not as big a fans of, but this is a big one for Nick and I, just because back in the day, we have listened to your music for the longest time, and like, you know, the amount of times we've got in from like a drunken night out and put The Show Must Go Off on and stuff. You know, happy memories. So,
do you ever actually watch that back yourself?
Have I watched it?
Yeah, do you actually go back and watch that DVD or not? Or is it just locked away in a cupboard?
I don't even know if I own one, to be honest. I probably do somewhere.
Right.
But yeah, that was a cool DVD. It did a lot for us because it was put out on Kung Fu Records.
Yeah, sure.
And Joe Escalante, who plays bass in the Vandals.
Yep.
He owns Kung Fu Records, and he's always been a big supporter and a big fan of Mest.
Okay.
And when he started that series, I think we were the second band to do it. And this was also back in the day when not everybody had their fucking phones out recording shows.
Of course, yeah.
So a live concert was something that you wanted to obtain.
Yeah.
Now you can just go on YouTube and type in the band and watch as much live footage as you want. But also being that it was on Kung Fu Records, which is a very punk rock label. And so, you know, for us, it was a cool thing to be part of that. And we were already on Maverick Records, which was a subsidiary of Warner Brothers. And for them to let us do that was a big deal too, because, you know, labels usually want to own everything the fucking band does. And we were just like, look, man, you're not going to do a fucking live DVD for us. And this is great for marketing and promotion. And it's fucking Kung Fu Records. And so, you know, it was actually pretty easy to convince them to let us do it, which was awesome. And Joe's been super supportive for our band since day one. He's always fucking, you know, stuff for us. And I mean, the name of your guys' podcast is Wasting Time, correct?
Yeah.
Is that a Mest reference?
So this is the weird thing, and I promise I'm being truthful with you here. For me, it is like, so before I started doing this with Nick, I had a couple of other co-hosts who perhaps weren't such a fan of your music. So I pretend to them it was like the old Blink 182 song, Wasting Time. But like in my head, I'm like, for me, when I think Wasting Time, I think of that Mest record. And I promise I'm not just saying that because I'm talking to you right now, you know.
No, fair enough. I mean, got to sneak it in whenever you fucking can, right?
Exactly. But like, it's way easier now because I'm hosting with Nick, and like, you know, we have a mutual love of what you do, so it makes it easier in that respect.
I was just curious.
But it's interesting what you say about the taping shows and stuff. Was, you know, people didn't have phones in those days, but like, because I remember that was such an exciting thing for me because that DVD came out before you guys started coming to Europe and stuff. So like, you know, to be able to see like Mest, like on a full live show was such a big thing in those days, which would just be alien to someone who's a fan of any band these days. It's just crazy to think that, really.
Right. It gives you a glimpse into what the show is like, what the band is like, and you get to live a little bit of the experience. Obviously, it's not the same as being at a show, but it's as close as you can get to it in the meantime. And yeah, I mean, things obviously have changed now, and artists and bands are way more accessible now, you know, because they are on Instagram and Facebook and very, you know, reachable, which I fought that concept for as long as I could until I realized it is a tool to stay connected to your fans. It's a free tool. Yeah. It's a marketing tool, and it's just what the business has changed into. And you know, I fought it for a while because I always looked up to the bands I looked up to and the artists that I liked. It was fucking cool, like being in the crowd and you're waiting for the fucking curtains to open and the band to walk on stage, and you're like, fuck, dude, there they are. And now it's like you're with them every day. Yeah. And so that mystique and that fucking, wow, that's my fucking, I look up to that guy. That's my fucking rock star idol. It's sort of gone a little bit, but at the same time, the other side of that is that now it's more of like the relatability of like, you know, I mean, my fucking Instagram is like mostly my fucking 4-year-old. Yeah. You know, like most of my fucking DM conversations are, you know, about somebody else's kid starting fucking kindergarten and shit like that. And it's just like, it's life. It's more, you know, and it is cool that it makes you more accessible to be human. 'Cause I don't see myself as anything other than a kid who got lucky playing music, and I still get to do it to this day. There's a lot of bands that were just as talented, if not more, than fucking Mest, and music is just an opinion anyways, but I got lucky, and I don't see myself as anything besides that. But other people do put me up on a pedestal, and so if I'm able to have a fucking short conversation with somebody at a show or through fucking Instagram or something like that, and that makes their fucking day, then that's cool to me, because, you know, I'm the fucking lucky one that got to do this for as long as I have. And it's like, there's a cool side to it, having that accessibility, and to be like, look, man, I'm just like you at this point. I'm just out there playing shows with my old ass bones, just trying to fucking support my kids. This is what I do for a living. Yeah, it's a fun job, but it is my job, you know, like.
Right.
Yeah, so I was just going to say, obviously, talk about becoming more accessible now. I mean, have you seen your fans change, you know, since the early days? Obviously, you know, I guess you go out to your shows and you see all your old school hardcore fans, but have you seen much in the way of kind of new young kids, you know, coming through and getting into Mest?
You know, it's not necessarily. I mean, you do see the new younger kids. But I think there is a thing with music where when you're growing up and you're trying to identify with something and trying to become who you think you are, and, you know, trying to figure out life and shit like that, and you start hearing music, you discover certain bands, and that's your identity for a while you're growing up, and that's sort of who you become. For us, more so, we still see the fucking diehards that come out, you know, show after show, and, you know, a lot of people. It's hard for us to acts, or to, you know, like, you look at some of these new bands, and, you know, Mest might still bring more people to a show than some of these new younger pop punk bands. Yeah. But you go to one of these kids' pages and they've got 100,000 followers. You go to my page, I got a little over 13,000, because one, not everybody that's on social media that's my age is out searching for their old favorite artists, as much as it's just like a thing to post shit about their family and stay connected with their friends. Yeah. But we do have the fans that are coming out. A lot of people that are still discovering that, oh shit, Mest has a new record about to come out. We just released a new song. Mm-hmm. And as far as getting new fans, what's been fucking awesome for us is, you know, we started out this year in January. We did a tour with Real Big Fish. In April, we went out with Less Than Jake. Yeah. We just got done with Real Big Fish and Bowling for Soup. Now we're going out with Mill and Cullen. So what's happening for us now is, it's not necessarily new younger fans. It's just new fans that are more in our demographic and our age range, that are like, I've heard of you guys for years, you know, like, and never saw you, never really checked out your music, but fuck, I'm going to go listen to all your shit now. You have a new fan. Like, we get that so much at every show, which is fucking awesome. Like, that's cool. And these are the people that go to the Real Big Fish shows and Bowling for Soup and Mill and Cullen are people that have been fans of these bands for 2 decades now. And so to be able to play in front of those types of people and put on a show and have that dude come up to me or chick come up to me at the end of the show and go, fuck, man, that was awesome. I can't wait to get on Spotify and listen to all your records. And I'm like, well, you know, we got a massive back catalog, so right. Get to it, you know. But those are the people that are now going to hopefully come back to the next time Mest plays. And those are the fans you want, the people that still give a fuck, still go to shows, still buy records, still buy merch. And like I always tell people, we're like that Netflix series that's been out for a couple seasons and you just discovered. So now it's like, now you get to binge listen to us and discover all of our music, you know, and like, so it's not so much the younger ones, but it's just new fans. Yeah.
And they get to watch the show Must Go Off DVD as well.
If you can find it.
Yeah, exactly. on YouTube most likely at this point.
Yeah. And you know, there is 2 versions of that. I don't know what version you guys have, but we did the first version. We did an after show thing where the camera crew followed us around. We went to this like punk rock house where they had like little punk rock shows and a party and shit. And like, it's pretty brutal. Like, I was like giving my friends drugs and shit. And like, people are popping pills and like this chick's puking on Nick and I like eat the puke off of her. Like, we were fucked up back then. But, then Disney found out about it, and where it was taped was House of Blues Anaheim, which was in the Disney lot. As soon as they heard about it, they were like, you fucking pull those from the shelves, you take that off. So we still got a good amount of them out there. Yeah. But then there's like the versions now without that on it. I don't know which one you guys got.
I remember one with like back, some of that stuff you're talking about. I remember like one of you guys were trying to smash a bottle over your head or something.
Yeah, that seemed like that would. I don't know if that was in that. I think that was. Fuck. Was that on that? Because we also released an EPK with our third record, and then we released 7 Deadly Sins photographs.
I remember that too. No, I'm fairly certain that it was on The Show Must Go Off, because I remember.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I remember. So Nick and I used to play in a band together at that time, and I remember our drummer trying to. I think we were all trying to replicate that, but I remember him succeeding. If you remember that, Nick.
I said, speaking of succeeding, so there was one time we were playing a show. I can't remember where the fuck it was at, but I was pretty buzzed on stage, and I used to, we were playing show after. This is when we were touring nonstop.
Yeah.
So I was playing the song, playing the guitar, singing the words, but in my brain, I'm fucking thinking about like, what am I gonna do after the show? I'm like looking in the crowd, having random thoughts in my head while I'm performing.
Yeah.
And so I think we were playing Long Days, Long Nights, and I thought we were going into the bridge and we were going into the second verse.
Uh-oh.
So I just stopped singing and started playing like the bridge.
Yeah.
And then the band kept playing, and then I couldn't catch up and figure out the words once I didn't sing the first line, and so we just looked at each other and just stopped playing.
Right, okay.
And I was like, all right, fuck. So I just explained to the crowd, I was like, man, sorry, I was thinking about some shit. I just fucked up. And then we were doing that beer bottle thing at the time. And I go, all right, for fucking up, I'm going to break this beer bottle over my head. So I walk back. It's like a Coors Light. I finish it real quick. I go and grab a hat from my guitar tech. So I was like, I still don't want to split open my fucking head.
Yeah.
Put a hat on my head, lean over, just fucking doink, and fucking bottle just breaks instantly. And the trick to that is, if the bottle breaks, it doesn't hurt. If the bottle doesn't break, that's when it fucking hurts.
Right.
So after the show, I was talking to fans, and everybody thought that it was like a trick. And I was like, no, I swear to fucking God, that was a real beer bottle. Like, nobody believed it, like, it seemed too set up.
Right.
Then the next night, I was like, I'm going to do this again. And sure enough, I'm on stage, but it was a Corona bottle, which they make thicker, and I didn't realize that.
Uh-oh.
So we have this on video too. I just beat the shit out of myself for a solid 45 minutes. Or not 45 minutes, for like a solid 5 minutes. Just kept fucking hitting myself in the head. And Matt and Nick are playing the circus song, the doom, 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 for 5 minutes. And I'm just, dude, it would not break. Then Matt comes up to me, whispers in my ear, just break it over my head. And I was like, are you sure, dude? And he's like, yeah. I fucking lean back, doink, doesn't break. He just drops to the ground.
Fuck.
And we're like, oh, fuck. So we're like, okay, scratch this. We're going to finish the set. At the end of the set, I had so many lumps in my head. It was so fucked up. And everybody's like, dude, you need to go to the hospital. And I was like, nah, man, I'm fine. By the end of the night, all the lumps were gone. But what I realized is that I just had one massive lump. My entire head was fucking swollen. I'm sure I had to have a fucking concussion, but evidently I just fucking lived through it and everything was fine. But it was fucked up, man. So never again with that shit.
So basically, like, I want to talk a bunch about the new record. Well, the upcoming new record, of course. But like, the way we normally do these is like, we take it back a little bit and like kind of like, because with Nick and I, particularly in this case, being such big fans, like there's a bunch of questions we want to ask, like sort of throughout the career of Mest, if that's cool, and then we'll kind of work our way up to the new record. So I guess I'll just kind of jump straight to like when Feldman discovered you guys. Obviously, you guys were a band existing before that, but Feldman discovered you. Like, I just want to like ask what things were like at that time. Like, for example, like obviously the only other band apart from Goldfinger he'd worked with was Show Off, who were kind of from the same part of the world as you. We've actually had Chris Messer from the singer from that band on this before. So I was just curious, we coming from the same kind of scene, did you know those guys at that time?
Yeah, I mean, I knew Chris before that. We sort of grew up in the same, we grew up in the same punk rock scene where, there was this little place, he might have mentioned it, called Off the Alley, that was on the south side of Chicago. It was our little punk rock club.
Yeah, it sounds
familiar. And then
familiar.
north side, there was like the Fireside Bowl, which is a pretty legendary punk rock club.
Yeah. We had Tim from Alistair talk to us a lot about that place, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, so those were like the two places as far as like the cool venues to play was Fireside and Off the Alley. And then all the other shows that we did were the ones that we just put on, where we'd rent a VFW hall, contact like, 4 to fucking 7 bands, and every band would flyer the show, and we'd try to get enough kids in there to pay for the fucking VFW hall. And so I knew he was in a band called AYA, and I was a fan of that band. So we would play shows here and there together. So, he was just part of the scene. And then he started Show Off and shit. And I actually discovered Show Off because I went to, my fucking memory, my memory's correct on this. I went to, Goldfinger was playing 2 surprise shows at Fireside Bowl, which wasn't normal because they were doing really good at the time. Fireside Bowl was like, I don't know, max capacity, maybe 350, maybe 400 if you fucking stuffed enough people in there.
Yeah.
And so they were doing a daytime show and an evening show at that. It was just I think that was what they're doing, or they were doing like a morning show. Yeah, that's what it is. It was 2 shows. So we cut the line and got into that first show. And then I had met John previous to that, and would always just fucking hawk demos on stage or give him demos after the show or before the show. I was the kid that was like there super early, just trying to fucking meet the bands and network the band, shit like that. And he had said to me previous to that show, next time we're in town, you guys can open up for us.
Right.
And I was like, all right, cool. And so when they played that show, I saw him after the show and I was like, yo, dude, I was like, what's up, man? And he remembered me because I was just that fucking, annoying kid always fucking bothering him.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, you mentioned that we could play the show with you. And he's like, oh, fuck, sorry, man. He goes, next time for sure, okay? He's like, here, check it out. Here's my phone number. Keep in touch. And so he just gave me his house phone number.
Right. Wow.
Which is super random because it's not like we really knew each other, enough to give somebody your house phone number, which is, and so I kept in touch with him, and then I was at a party, and some kid came up to me that I knew that was just a normal acquaintance friend, and he was like, so I thought you were opening up for Goldfinger next time they're in town. And I was like, okay, you're saying that with some sort of weird fucking smirky fucking tone.
Right.
I'm like, what do you mean by that? And he's like, well, Goldfinger's playing here next month. And I was like, they are? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, oh, fuck, I didn't know that. I was like, I'll have to call John. So, of course, the next day I got on the horn and started fucking reaching out to him and got a hold of him. And he was like, oh, yeah, for sure, man. And I was like, all right, cool. So then he gave me his manager's number and called his manager, got set up. So we got to open up for Goldfinger, which was like our biggest show yet, sold out House of Blues in Chicago.
Right.
We were doing really well at the scene in the scene at that time too. And so we opened up.
Had you played with anyone like close to the level of Goldfinger at that point?
Yeah. Well, at that point with our local career, so to speak, we were the band that we put out a 9-song demo on cassette. We put out, and then we had our 17-song CD, More Money, More 40s out at that point. We were the band that when a national act was coming through and they wanted a local opener, I had met enough promoters and we were worthy of enough tickets that we would be the band that they would call to be the local band to help out with ticket sales and shit like that. So we had played with like Mustard Plug and some random local spotlight shows where like bands like Incubus would be put on this like $5 Tuesday night.
Right.
Anytime bands would come through, we didn't play with Incubus, but the promoter's like, hey, come out to the show. I want to show you what these $5 shows are. It's these bands that are about to break. And, once a band's coming through that makes sense for you guys, I want to put you on the show. So come out and check out the show. And I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
So we were the band that was the big local opening up for the national acts. So obviously the Goldfinger show was the biggest one for us.
Yeah.
And, after we were done playing, I saw John backstage and he had watched us and he was like, fuck, dude. He's like, that was great. He's like, you have a pretty big local following, right? And I was like, yeah, I mean, we do okay. And he was like, because I've never heard for any of the bands that have opened up for us, I've never heard the crowd singing the words that loud for a local band.
Right.
Because we did. I mean, we busted our asses in the first couple of years. And one thing that we did too, which bands do in the beginning of their careers, which I don't think is smart, is they oversaturate. And what I didn't do was I convinced the guys, which was hard to do. I was like, let's not fucking play every weekend, man. Let's play once a month, if that, and make sure that the show's worthy of playing, that it's an event and a reason for people to come play. I mean, to come watch us. If you're playing every weekend, people don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
So it was like the less is more sort of concept. And, you know, so when we were able to do the bigger national act shows, that was a thing where we'd get on stage, then our fans would be stoked to come out because then they got to see some cool fucking big bands after us, and then we'd earn some new fans. So we were, you know, it was a smart way of making yourself look bigger than you even fucking are.
Got it, yeah.
And we became that band. So, and it helped because then when we played that Goldfinger show, all of our friends came out to support, all of our fans came out to support, and we were very much a like band at that time. You know, we were very similar. So we looked massive to John Feldmann, you know.
Yeah. So did the offer come on the table pretty soon after that to come and work with him in the studio?
It wasn't too. I mean, soon in the concept of being in a band and how long, you know, it's the hurry up and wait business. But there was John did give me the call and was like, "Yo, dude, so I'm doing the show off record right now." When he called me at my girlfriend's house. I was like 17 or something, and it was like 2 a.m, and the phone rings, and her mom's like, "Hey, is this guy John on the phone for you, Tony?" And I was like, "Okay." And I'm like, "What's up, dude?" He's like, "Hey, it's John," all hyper and shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Okay, it's cool. It's 2 a.m. You're calling my girlfriend's house, but what's up, man?" So he was like, "I'm working with Show Off, doing this record." He goes, "In a couple of months," he goes, "I'm going to get a demo deal for you guys, fly you guys out, and let's record some songs so I could present it to the label." And I said, "Okay, fucking cool, man." The first thing he said was, "Hey, man, so are you still in Mest?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then he was like, "Okay, well, I have this idea, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "All right, cool." So then I had to go back to the band and go, "Hey, we need to like stop playing shows and start writing songs. We need to have a lot of songs and be prepared for this."
Yeah.
They didn't want to do that either. It was always hard to convince the band to do anything that I was like had in my brain, you know? And,
yeah.
And needless to say, I was always fucking right because we got to, you know, it all worked out.
Of course.
And then I got a phone call at my work, which was also my girlfriend at the time. Her mom was the manager, and we all worked. Like 15 of us worked at this dinner show place. We were like waiters. It was ridiculous. But I got a call there, and that's when he was like, "Hey, so I got it down. I'm in the back room in the back office." She's like, "Hey, it's that guy again." I'm in her office, and he's like, I got a demo deal for you. I can fly you out, blah, 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 and that. And I was like, all right, cool. I think I don't know if I quit that night or like maybe like a week later. I was like, okay, fuck this. I'm done working. But yeah, I want to say maybe it was, 6 months after that I got the phone call again that we were going to do the demo.
Okay.
And
so you had managed to scramble some songs together before then at some point then?
Yeah, I mean, dude, that was back in the days where I was just a kid just fucking writing, and I thought every song was fucking great. So I definitely, which they weren't, but I had enough songs to go out there and for him to hear everything and to put together 4 songs to show a label,
Yeah. What songs were like that we would still know now that were on those 4 songs?
Well, 4 of the songs made the Wasting Time record because they were the songs that we recorded.
Yeah, okay, so we all know them, yeah.
And I think the reason why John wanted to work with us was I would always send him new demos to the house. Yeah. In the process of before he even got us the demo deal, he was like, "Send me new songs as you record them."
Right.
And I remember him saying that the one song that he was like, "Okay, you know how to write songs," was the song called "Electric Baby."
Oh yeah. Nice ballad.
He was like, "If you can write more songs like this," he goes, "we can put a record together." Okay. So that was one of them. "Forget You," which is a song that Jer sings, was on it.
Yeah.
The song that I fucking hate, track 3 is on there.
Is that What's the Dealio?
Yeah, we don't talk about that song.
Yeah.
And then,
go on.
What else was there? What was the fourth song? Can't even remember what the fourth song was. But those were three of them.
Okay.
And then, so we sent that in. A week later, we got a phone call, and they were like, yeah, they want to do a record. And I was like, all right. Fucking cool, man. Let's do a record.
Maverick, right?
Yeah. And I was like 19 years old, so I was like, all right, this is cool, man.
And did you sign a multi kind of record deal there as well? Because you ended up releasing like your next.
Yeah, I mean, you know what the labels do, man. They I don't even know if we signed the one record guaranteed, and then they just tie you up where it's like 6 options, and the option is completely in their hands. I don't know. I think maybe the second option was a payout deal. So if they decided to not do the second record, they still had to give us like a lump sum of money for something, but to them at that point, if they're like, okay, this isn't going to work, that sum of money is a tax write-off, and they can just go, okay, this is a loss, and they're a multi-million-dollar company, so it's not that big of a deal, rather than recording the record, all the money they put into marketing, all the shit they're going to spend. But it was, it was a multi-record optional deal at that point.
Right. Cool. And I guess the touring just kind of stepped up from there, did it, right?
Yeah, I mean,
from your kind of local scene to out on the road.
Yeah, once the record was done and recorded, then we signed on with an agent who we had pretty much our entire career. And he was just like, all right, we're going to get you out on the road. I mean, we did some weird tours in the beginning, shit that I don't think necessarily made sense, but they just wanted to keep us out on the road. And I was like, I wanted to be out on the road. So, that I mean, I don't know how much I should go into the detail of that first record and the touring aspect of it, but
what was the weird tours you're referring to?
So I wouldn't say it was just like he'd put us out with like the Circle Jerks.
Okay, yeah.
And I want to say that this was even on on our first record. I think we went out with like Guttermouth, some shit like that, where it was like punk rock bands and it was cool.
Yeah.
But it was like their fans were like this, I want to say like the sorority, fraternity punk rock fans, where it's like, you can't be part of our club.
Yeah.
You're not punk enough for us type of shit. And I'm like, dude, you have no idea what the scene was like that I grew up in, the bands that I listened to. Because I used to listen to like hardcore punk and fucking oi music. And, and it was like, I probably knew more about fucking punk rock than they did, but what are you gonna do, argue with some fucking Nimrod like but so shit like that. But they just wanted to keep us out on the road and build our name, and we weren't getting played on the radio, so that was how we built our entire career, was playing in front of people every night. And I mean, it was non-stop touring in the beginning.
Right. Okay. What were some of your favorite tours at that point? That made more sense.
I want to say once we hit our second record, that first record was like, they went for radio and did all that shit, and it got picked up on radio real quick and died down.
Okay.
And so then it was like, okay, on to the second record, and now we actually rebuild and build this band the proper way.
Okay.
So when we were starting the touring cycle and we had finished our second record, Destination Unknown. Yeah, so this is back when people still bought CDs. By the way, this wasn't like the digital era hadn't even really hadn't started yet.
Yeah.
So we were out on the road a lot before that record came out, and we were I'm trying to think what tours we did prior to the record coming out, because I want to say prior and during that record we did like Goldfinger, Unwritten Law, Good Charlotte. Then we'd go out. We went out together, like all those bands. We'd go out in different packages together. Yeah. Sugar Cult a lot.
Yeah.
Who else? Fuck.
I think we saw you in the UK with Sugar Cult and Good Charlotte. I think, was that right, Chris?
Yeah. We brought that tour over there.
Yeah, and we saw one of your small headline shows on that tour as well, if I remember right.
It might have been when we brought Fall Out Boy over there for the first time.
No, that was a few months later. Okay. I remember being bummed out I couldn't go to that because I was in the States at the time. But yeah, no, like so you were over with Good Charlotte and Sugar Cult, but I think as part of the tour, you were able to do a couple of solo shows.
We did like one-offs and shit.
Yeah. So we were lucky enough to see you on the GC tour and one of your solo ones, which
right.
Yeah.
So what happened was we were doing a lot of fucking extensive touring prior to Destination Unknown.
Yeah.
Coming out, and so this is back in the day, like I said, when there was CDs. So stores would look at the numbers of record sales on your previous record, and then see what type of radio play you were getting, and all the bullshit statistics that they go through to do their pre-orders, like Best Buy, fucking whatever, Tower Records, shit like that. They do the pre-orders on the record. So our pre-orders were super low because I think Wasting Time had only sold 30,000 records, and we didn't have any radio play leading up to this record coming out. So record comes out, we're on the road, and that first week, we only sold 6,000 records that first week. We would have sold a fucking dick ton more, but every store started calling the distribution and going, okay, we fucked up. Everybody's coming in the store and asking for it, and we don't have any copies. Because they didn't order enough, because they were like, this band's not going to sell anything. But what they didn't realize is that for that entire fucking 2 years between Wasting Time and Destination Unknown, we'd been on the road nonstop.
Right.
So although there was no radio play to show, and there was only 35,000 records sold, there was a bunch of fans that we were earning through touring, grassroots style, that wanted this new record. So that was sort of a good thing for us, because then the label was like, oh fuck, okay, we need to really keep this going. So we got a decent push on that too, but technically, major label standards back then, even Destination Unknown by the end of its course was a failure in record sales.
Okay.
But by the end of that course, we were selling out our shows and headlining.
Right.
And we were playing, from 500 to, in the bigger markets, 1,700 people a night.
Right. Okay.
And that was only on 85,000 records sold. And so the label's like, okay, well, fuck, we can't drop this band because they're doing something right. And had they dropped us,
interesting, yeah,
we would have went to another label for sure, because we had enough numbers to show we're worthy of fucking your investments.
Yeah.
And I think it was more of an ego thing too, where maybe like, had they dropped us and we went on to another label that maybe had more pull at radio or something, and they got us on the radio, and then all of a sudden shit blows up, and that just looks bad on them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this other label could do it, but we couldn't do it, So then we secured our third record, and that record did fairly good as far as like MTV2, shit like that. We were on that Rock Countdown for, like 3 or 4 months, stuff like that. So, I think Jaded was on there for a while.
Yeah.
So that record did decent. I think first week we sold like 21 and 22,000. But, it's just that it was hard being on the label that we were on, because Maverick was a subsidiary of Warner Brothers. Right. So there's Warner Brothers, then there was a subsidiary of Maverick and a subsidiary of Reprise. And Reprise was obviously more important to Warner Brothers than Maverick was. Reprise had like Green Day and shit like that. I think Reprise also had, I want to say, The Used, shit like that. So when both labels are coming to Warner Brothers and going, okay, we're putting out these records, Warner Brothers, you're going to get the short end of the stick when there's other labels and records themselves that are strictly on Warner Brothers. So there's only so much that they're going to work for and do when they got to take care of their own shit, then another subsidiary, and then you. Granted, Maverick did have their own departments, but there was a lot of push from Warner Brothers, and they're the ones that really had the connections at radio and fucking TV and getting the fucking aisles on, the end aisles on Best Buy, so everybody sees the CDs as you walk in. There was a lot of there's a lot of cooks in the kitchen when it comes to that shit. So,
okay.
There's only so much that your label can do. I mean, they did good with us, and it helped me build a fucking career. Don't get me wrong, I'm super grateful. But looking back, I can see all the shit that they did wrong and where they spent money wrong and shit like that. But I think that's something that you just learn over the years. So
right.
Hence why we're sort of doing everything on our own now.
Oh yeah. No, we'll definitely get to that. I just want to ask a question, like, particularly around the Destination Unknown era. Like, obviously, you mentioned, you know, you're kind of growing a fan base from all that incessant touring and stuff, and like, the labels couldn't drop you because they could clearly see you were doing something right. But just like, as a fan, particularly because, so I came to you when that record came out. Like, I just remember finding it on Amazon, like, because I was listening to Show Off and Good Charlotte at the time, and getting that and just like loving that record. But like, it was a bit of a polarizing record with friends I had who were into punk music, you know, like, because they'd hear songs like Cadillac, which, you know, we personally love, but, it didn't necessarily go down so well with everyone who listened to that kind of music. Like, I just felt like you were a band that people either loved or hated to an extent. Like, I just wanted, like, did you experience that, like, being in the band yourself?
I mean, the thing is that what it is that, you know, the problem with that is, so right now at this point in my career, I have like 6 records or 7. I have to count again. 7 records. Well, the 7th record will be coming out. Yeah. And if you listen to the entire catalog, it's a majority of real issues, serious issues, life and death, relationships, just fucking normal shit that people write about. You know, like, I grew up listening to Social Distortion. He told stories about the neighborhood he grew up in, the people he grew up in, the shit he went through.
Yeah.
98% of our songs are about that.
Yeah.
Then there's a song like Cadillac that the label's like, we can get this on the radio, so we're going to make this your first single.
Right.
So then that song gets put out there and is the representation to the mass public of what the band is. So then people automatically go, this band writes fun pop punk fucking party songs. And it's like, that song was about driving down to fucking Florida to see my girlfriend at the time, Chelsea, before we had recorded this record, and like driving around being fucked up and like partying and like, you know, don't get me wrong, like, I write serious songs, but at the same time, I'm a pretty positive guy on life, and I like to have a fucking good time. And, you know, so you write one song about just getting fucked up with your friends and having a good time, and then, you know, people get this concept that that's what your band is, you know? And like you said, it's like one of those things where people are like, either they love it or they hate it. But then it's like, every time we go and play a live show, and we're playing in front of, you know, on this like Real Big Fish Bowling for Soup tour, it was, you know, pretty big shows, 15 to 2,500 people a night. Granted, those bands are more fun bands. We play a song like Cadillac and people fucking love it, you know?
Yeah.
Or I go over and play a show in Germany and I got these gutter punk kids in the crowd, fucking mohawks, spiked fucking gnarly Liberty spikes and shit. Fucking, you know, studs everywhere and fucking pins, asking me to play the 3rd track off of Wasting Time. And I'm like, are you fucking with me? And they're like, no, we fucking love that song. And I'm like, what the fuck? So it's a confusing thing. Obviously, we don't play that song ever.
I like how you won't even reference its name.
Right. We do play Cadillac depending on what tour we're on. Yeah. Because it makes sense. And we do this like gnarly long medley in the middle of it, of like these old 80s songs. And then we do Rancid, Time Bomb. And so it's like a fucking, it's a cool, fun song to end in.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, 98% of the songs that I've written are about fucking life and normal shit. And then there's like 2 songs that people reference. So like, I've been literally talking to my manager about making my own playlist of Mest songs for the people that are new fans, that I'm like, okay, instead of going through the 7 records, let me just fucking sum up what I think are the 4 best songs on each record, make this playlist, and for new fans to sort of dive in and sort of get the gist of what Mest is before they get tainted with that concept of that.
Got it.
You know, those other 2 songs, that what, you know, because people can get the wrong taste in their mouth. And it's like, dude, I've been in a band for almost 25 years now. Like, I wrote those songs when I was 16, one when I was 19.
Yeah.
So, you know, and the main thing is to our live show, man. Like, come see us live, and I think you'll be a fan for life. Like, that's what we've pride ourselves on. That's how we earn fans. And it's like, I'm still up there pretending I'm 22, jumping around like a fucking asshole, putting on the best show I can for, you know, the amount of time allotted. And You know, that's what we prided ourselves on, was putting on an entertaining live show where it's like, yeah, you're old as fuck. You may have some kids now. Babysitter may be waiting at home, but fucking tonight, have some fucking fun. Forget about the real world and fucking have a couple drinks and dance around like an asshole. You know, like that's what a punk rock show is for.
So, I mean, I guess you got that approach to your live shows, you know, that kind of same approach. You go into it with the same attitude. I mean, is your kind of approach to writing changed at all since way back when? And is there a different way you think about writing and approach it?
I wouldn't say a different way, but I think with each record back in the day, it was more so it was very closely related to what was happening at my life in that moment. And now being a little bit older, when writing songs, I sort of channel stuff that's possibly happening around me that I see. And I can use, like, if my life's, you know, fucking very simple at the time and I'm not going through anything that makes me want to fucking write down my feelings, so to speak, because I think writing songs for most songwriters is a little bit of a personal journal.
Of course.
And trying to keep it vague sometimes so that people don't necessarily know exactly what you're talking about because it's personal. I'm very personal though with my lyrics, but as I've gotten older, I've sort of learned to do it the other way of keeping it a little more vague and using friends' personal issues and stories of going through maybe a divorce or whatever may be happening in their lives, or their, you know, a close member, family passing away, or if they're dealing with depression, whatever it may be. I sort of channel the relationships I have and the talks that I have with my friends, and sort of write a song for them in some situations, which I didn't really do so much back then.
Okay.
You know, and then being a dad, I wrote a song about my son where I was like, started writing this piano part, and I was like, okay, I need to write some lyrics. So I went and grabbed this tiny little ass. I think he was like 9 months old at the time.
Right.
Put him in a little fucking bouncy thing, and just sat there and listened to the music and over and over again, and just stared at him and like started writing down my feelings, you know, and writing the story about when I, you know, in that song, I, you know, talk about Christmas Day when I told my dad I was going to be a father. And I remember that phone call like it was yesterday. I was walking around Hollywood just fucking freaking out.
Yeah.
You know, I think it hasn't changed so much as far as what I write about, but the stories do come from a different place in some situations.
Okay.
And lyrically, I think I pay more attention to just writing better lyrics, not, okay, this word rhymes with this. You know, like I really want to fucking tell a story, you know?
Yeah. So I guess like obviously Nick's kind of jumped us forward a bit. So on that subject, like what was, obviously you did all those records with Feldmann and you did this upcoming one with Cameron Webb. Like what,
right.
How different was that? Like working with a different producer, like having, I know you did the record without the original guys, obviously a few years back, but like,
yeah, the Not What You Expected record.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, but obviously what you are used to for the most part would have been working with Feldmann. Like how did it compare? Like this new experience working with Cameron Webb, who's obviously got a huge back catalogue, you know, with his own stuff.
Well, like I've known Cameron for over 10 years, and we did some Mest demos, you know, over 10 years ago. So I knew him really well. Well, not really well, but we were acquaintances and stuff. And so I just reached out to him and asked him if he was interested, and he's like, absolutely. So we got on the phone, we chatted for a little bit. And Cameron is, I would say, the polar opposite of John Feldmann in a way.
Okay, interesting.
One of the reasons that it made sense for me and us to do the record with Cameron is we'd done 4 records with John.
Yeah.
I've learned everything I possibly could learn from John Feldmann as far as a producer goes and a songwriter.
Okay.
I mean, that's what happens when you do 4 fucking records together.
Yeah, of course. Do you ever talk to him these days? Just out of interest.
I haven't. Last time I saw him was it's been a while. I saw him somewhere at a festival or something. It was like a quick hello, you know.
Yeah, didn't you open up for MXPX and Goldfinger not that long ago?
That was December of. So this December will be 2 years.
Yeah,
so
that's it.
Yeah, a year and a half ago, something like that.
Yeah.
So I'm there, quick bullshit conversation.
Okay, okay, fair enough. Yeah.
But like I said, working with John, it was. I learned as much as I possibly could, and when writing songs, I would know like, okay, when I'm writing a song, because I have my own little home studio that I'll write shit in, and so when I'm like thinking of parts or rewriting shit or something, like no matter what I'd done to the songs, I would know, okay, if I took this to John, I know what he would do or what he would suggest,
Okay.
And the other thing is I know how to produce songs now. I know how to write songs that I don't necessarily need a producer per se. But it's always good to have an outside opinion because it gets you out of your, the same shit you're doing. But having written, like some of these songs are 8 years old and shit that were on this record that I wrote a long time ago. Some were written the month before we started tracking. With Cameron, I was able to go in with Cameron, show him these songs. He loved all of them. We'd start recording, and he trusted me as a songwriter to be like, like he knew the songs were, he thought the songs were as good as they were the way they were. There'd be parts where I would go, hey man, what do you think about this? Or what do you think about that? And there'd be times where like, I was just overthinking maybe something that was so simple. And then his reply to me would be, well, what would you do here? And I'm like, well, what the fuck? Like, that's why I'm asking you. And he's like, do what you would do. Don't think about it. Do what you would do.
Right.
And with Cameron, it was a little bit more about him pushing me to be better and to make choices and do, like for me to be the best I could be. And John's sort of direction with records, and it's more because he's, especially I think these days, he's more into the pop world a little bit more and just songwriting, so to speak.
Okay.
It was more of him, and granted, we were pretty green back then. But it was more, I know what's best for you. You don't know what's best for you, but I do.
Yeah.
And so we butted heads a lot, but we ended up making great records in the end. But I think, when you got two strong opinions, that shit's going to happen. So, but with Cameron, like I said, Cameron was super easy to work with. This was the first record where I was there every step of the way, every day in the studio.
Yeah. I heard you telling Darren, ex of Goldfinger, on his show this recently. Yeah.
And so, the guys obviously had to fly in for their parts and stuff. And we had to fucking hammer those parts out. So, but it was cool though, because like I said, it didn't give everybody too much time to overthink simple shit of just playing music. Like what comes to you, what's instinct.
Yeah.
Play what you'd play. And, so this record was made very quickly for the guys, not so much for me because I had a lot more work to do than they did.
Okay. Did they bring much to the writing process? Did Jeremiah have any of his own songs, or was this mainly?
Well, Jeremiah has 2 songs on the record.
Okay.
And like one of them he sent to us. And now, granted, like I said, this is a very small budget we were doing this on, so we couldn't have everybody out at the same time. And we were working we were doing this record very differently.
Yeah.
And he sent us a song that was just him and a guitar playing. And Jeremiah, some of his songs that he writes can be very long.
Okay.
And Mest, that's not us. So I was like, okay, when you're writing these songs, I was sort of thinking like, okay, you write some different songs now and you're into different music. I get that, but you got to write some Mest songs, something that's closely related to Mest when writing these songs. So he sent us this song, and it was a very long demo. And me and Cameron and Nick just sat there and listened to it. And I was like, all right, okay, let's cut out this part. Let's cut out this part. And it wasn't cutting out parts as much as like, okay, this riff has been played 8 times. We played 4 times.
Right. Okay.
Simple shit like that. Just cutting off the fat, so to speak. And then we threw Nick into the studio, had him listen to the demo, and we sort of arranged this song per se with what we were given by Jer, which was 2 guitars and vocals. Mm-hmm. So then we had to fill out the parts and sort of go, okay, make it as much dynamic as possible too. And I think the song turned out fucking rad. And then like there's one part in one of his songs where Matt was playing the bass part to it, and he like fucked up and stopped for a second. And I was like, no, wait. I'm like, that could be rad. And he's like, what do you mean? I was like, so you stop here. And I was like, play off from the kick drum as opposed to hitting with the kick drum, play on the snare drum. And so I was like describing this part to him. I was like, it could be a block party style thing where you stop, you come in on the 2 as opposed to the 1.
Yeah.
I'll do something over here that's constant. Jared can do some off hits. Like, I don't know if you ever listen to Block Party. So it was just a concept
not
that
really,
I heard
but
by
yeah,
accident.
but yeah, I know what you're saying though. Yeah.
Like the Clash style shit.
Okay. Yeah.
And so then, like, once Jeremiah came in, then I had to describe him the part, which was like 2 weeks later, and be like, this is what we were thinking, blah, blah, blah. So then Jeremiah had to write some guitar stuff to it, and then I had an idea. So it was different, but it was cool. It was a different way of being creative, you know, and like, I doubt Matt remembers any of the bass lines that he played because it was like, all right, you know the root notes, now write some bass lines. And so he was just fucking playing. And then I remember listening to the record back and stuff and texting Matt like, dude, I know we rushed this record as far as what we're used to doing. I go, but that non-overthinking aspect that Cameron sort of pushed on us made for some fucking really cool bass lines and some cool parts that on my, you know, like they were pretty demoed out, you know, like when I gave them to Cameron, they were like, cause I sat with him for months and re-recorded parts and, you know, like I played all the guitars on the record and shit, you know, besides Jeremiah's songs.
Right.
But I had a lot of time to sit with these songs and produce them myself before bringing them into Cameron. But there was definitely some songs where I was like, okay, I want to do something different here. And so me and Cameron would think of something to do and I'd give him my ideas and then he'd bounce ideas back and stuff. But it was like, I don't think I could ever be in the studio for as long as I was in as many consistent days. I was in the studio for 2 months with Cameron.
Wow. Okay.
You know, driving 40 minutes there, 40 minutes back every night.
Yeah.
And pretty much 5 days a week for the most part. Besides, we had holidays and some family shit here and there.
Yeah.
I don't think I could ever do that with John. Just realistically, I don't think like, just like, but Cameron's just a mellow dude, which you need that in the studio.
Right.
But I mean, even like talking to the guys about it, like I remember Jeremiah was asking Matt, like, hey, what's it like working with Cameron? You know, because Jeremiah hadn't met Cameron yet. And we'd only done records with John Feldmann. And I remember Matt being like, dude, it was fucking awesome. Like, Cameron's a fucking rad dude. You're going to love him. He's a funny guy. Like, he's just a chill, fucking good dude. And so the experience was good and quick for the guys. And for me, I loved it. This was the most fun record I've ever had making. Cool. Being there every step of the way was really cool.
Yeah, and it must have been nice to have those guys back, albeit like briefly for their parts. After it being
it was fun, man. Like
time, right?
you know, we haven't done a record in 14 years together.
Yeah.
So it was cool to be back in the studio with them, and it was still the same shit. 'Cause I play drums too, so like, there's always parts when writing a song where I'm like, I write the drums to this guitar part or something, and I'm like, okay, I really like this drum fill. Either play the drum fill like this is, or do something that you would do that matches the part. And Nick's always been really fucking cool and chill about that, where he's like, no, the part's rad. Okay, I'll just play this part. Like, he's not very ego driven when it comes to that shit. He's like, I'll do what's best for the song. And I would sit there like, when Nick was doing drums, I was on a fucking drum stool in front of him, like air drumming with him, you know, like, because we had to get through fucking, I don't know, however many songs it is. We recorded a lot of songs. But I'm sitting in front of him, you know, we got 2 days to do this. And unfortunately, we did go out the first night.
Okay.
So the second day, he was just fucking hungover. And
was that night a throwback to old times?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for us to get together and not resort back to our old ways.
Yeah.
No head bottle smashing though this time.
No, that would have put us out. Too old for that shit.
But obviously you got it together. I don't know if you're allowed to say stuff like this. So, like, how many finished songs did you guys get done, and how many are going to appear on the record? Or are you kind of?
We have 12. This record's going to be 12 songs, 12. If I'm remembering correctly.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, obviously you've released Masquerade. Is that going to be the title of the album, or is it?
It is.
Have a different title.
Okay.
It is.
Cool.
Nice.
And what are your kind of timelines for releasing that? Have you got a date set yet? Or?
Fuck, man. I did sign a distribution deal, which we're lucky because this guy that works over at the Orchard, this guy Sam, he's a big fan of Mest.
Yeah.
So he really wanted to help us work this record. And typically they wouldn't take on a distro deal for a single one record band that doesn't necessarily have a label. Yeah. But he was a big fan. He's like, went to the guy above him, was like, I want to work this record. We discussed it. It worked out. I had to learn what distribution is these days because it's digital, which I'm like, I could put it up on my TuneCore account and release it, but they do a lot more work than that. So after we discussed this, and then they're like, okay, well, we want to properly set up this record for you. So they're like, we need this amount of time. And I was like, okay. I go, we originally said spring, then summer, and it's like, but that's what you do when you say you're going to put out a record. You keep delaying it and pissing your fans off.
Of course.
And the things that we want to release, at least 3 singles before the record comes out. Another new thing that bands do. It used to be one single, record comes out, another single, shit like that. It's different now because it helps us get the word out there. It helps us people get a feel, old and new fans for the new record. And I don't want to, explaining this to fans as like, look, it's been 14 years and know you fucking want this record. But if I just shit it out and go, here it is, and then don't do anything with it, it'll probably be the last record we make.
Okay.
And I've been on the road now, on and off since the beginning of the year. And I need to be back out there touring, letting people know the record's coming out. Orchard needs to do their job and get it on Spotify playlists and Apple playlists. And we need to, market this record as much as we can so that people hear the new fucking song. So people give a fuck, want to come back, hear the old songs, and hear the new record. Mm-hmm. And so it does take time. I think we're looking at like fall.
Okay.
Fall at the latest. It's just I have to give them enough time.
Yeah, fair enough. Do you have any idea of when we might get another single?
I do. We're trying to shoot a video for Masquerade because we also haven't released a video in a long time.
Yeah, that's true.
And then I think we're going to drop something mid-September.
Okay.
The second single.
Yeah.
Which will still be probably another like punk rock song.
And is the ambition to, once that's wrapped up, to keep on with those tours? I guess the ambition to kind of keep those kind of smaller tours together and keep them going.
I'll do any tour, dude. I just want to fucking tour. I want to tour.
What about UK tour? Because you obviously cancelled the one this year, didn't you? To go out.
Well, I didn't necessarily cancel it. I had to skip a few beginning dates. Right. And I would have to have flown out there immediately after our Less Than Jake tour. But there was a solid chance we were going to get the Less Than Jake tour.
Yeah.
And not that the UK is not important to us, but this in the States here was a big tour that we had to do.
Yeah, no, we get it.
So, I had talked to promoters and shit like that and discussed it and let them know, like, I'm not canceling, man. I just need to figure this out.
Yeah, yeah.
And then my buddy who was putting on the tour, he pulled the plug without me even knowing because I started getting messages from promoters like, why'd you cancel? And I was like, I didn't fucking cancel. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, man, the show got canceled. He's trying to put the Ataris on it this night. I'm like, dude, I didn't cancel it. And then I would just explain to the promoters, the ones that were contacting me.
Yeah.
So most of the promoters that do these shows now are fans, which is rad.
That's cool.
But I just had to explain to them what was going on. I'm like, I'm still down to do this. I go, but this is the situation, and I wanted to let him know.
Is it those Swiss guys? Do you work with those Swiss guys that Mike Herrera was? Yeah. I know them. Yeah. Okay, got it.
I was going to say, just is there any? I guess there are plans to get out here again as soon as possible. Is there any kind of potential options on the table for you guys?
I had talked to a couple of friends that are in bands that do pretty decent over there, and we discussed possibly going over there together. And then we do pretty decent in Japan, so I was like, well, why don't we come over there with you? Mm-hmm. And then we jump from there and we go to Japan together. And, because that's sort of what this community is about. Like, the better I do, the better you do, the better the scene keeps going.
Yeah, of course.
You can't tell us who that band is, though, can you?
Well, because it was just a discussion between me and him, and go like,
yeah, fair enough.
It hasn't gone past that.
Yeah.
But cool. he's one of those dudes, and so am I, that it's like if we discuss something and we're like, okay, maybe we should do this, there's a solid chance it'll happen. It's not just like, okay. But until we even have that next conversation, and then, okay, well, let's have my manager call your manager, booking agent. Let's see if we can get them to start fucking sorting this out.
Cool.
But I mean, I definitely want to get back over there, and we will, even if we just do like a fucking UK run of like 7 shows, because you can tour just the fucking UK realistically.
Right.
Probably get over there, bring the new record over there for people, and just do, a quick run if we have to. But I definitely want to come over there and make up some of those shows that we had to miss out on. And it sucks, we missed out on 2 fucking rad festivals too.
Were you going to do Grows Rock or something?
Yeah, we were on that, and then we were on Sabam Fest, which is, I believe, in Italy, but I could be wrong.
Okay. Yeah. Shame.
Missed out on those too. But, like I said, I wanted to be honest with that promoter. And so I just told him what was potentially going to happen, because I didn't want to just have him do all this promoting and market the tour. And then last minute I go, sorry, dude, got the Less Than Jake tour, can't do it. Like, I don't work like that. So I was like, I'm just going to let you know this is a possibility. And we put it off as long as we could. And then he, like I said, he pulled the plug without me even fucking knowing. And
right. Fuck. Yeah, fair enough.
That's when the emails started.
Yeah. Tony, like we've had you for like an hour now, so we don't want to keep too much more of your time. But like, if it's cool, we've just got a couple more sort of random questions that like I'm quite curious to ask you, and then we'll finish it. We normally finish these things off with like a quick fire round.
Okay.
So if you're down to just talk for a few more minutes,
yeah,
cool, man. I just wanted to, just on the subject of the new record, you don't have to go into it too much, because I heard you, as I mentioned, I was listening to you on Dangerous Darren's show, like you were talking about releasing the record, because obviously you ended up doing Kickstarter, but like things are cool with like El Jefe and Cybertracks. That was kind of like sounded like a mutual amicable thing from what you were saying on that show. Yeah,
so when I decided I wanted to do this record on my own, first they were like, if you want to opt out, we can figure it out. You can pay us back, whatever, pay yourself out of the contract, so to speak. Yeah. And then I was debating it, decided I wanted to. My manager contacted them. Then Jefe's wife, who runs the label, she wanted to talk.
Yeah.
And she didn't necessarily want us to leave, because she's a fan. She liked the songs, and she wanted to do this. But then at the same time, when I explained to her my reasons for wanting to do it and stuff, she's also a mother and has a family and understands where I was coming from. So she didn't just strictly think business, and she was like, thought more like morals and as a human being and understanding where I was coming from. So although she didn't necessarily want to, she was like, I understand, I get it.
Yeah.
So, it was, it wasn't as big of a deal as people would think when it's like, I want out of my record contract. It wasn't like a fight or anything. It was just a discussion, and that was it,
Cool. I just wanted to ask you, Tony, just a bit. A lot of the guests we've had on now, obviously, kind of been around a long time, like yourself, and a lot of them are kind of settled down with kids now. I guess wanted to kind of know how you find that right balance, and kind of what your what your ambitions are for your little one, kind of in the future, and in terms of music potentially.
I'm not gonna fucking tell him, or like, I think as a parent, you provide every choice and opportunity for your kid, and you show them sports, you show them music, you show them art of any form, and whatever they decide they're interested in as a decent human being and a parent, you support their choices. Music is a terrible, hard business to be in. I know this myself. It's not the way that it was even 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to let, whatever he chooses, whatever path he wants to fucking go down in life, it's just like, I'm just going to be there and support him, because that's what a parent's supposed to do.
Sorry, changing the subject a little bit. Obviously, like, historically, you were like quite close to the Madden brothers. So I'm just curious, like if you're still like friendly with them at all, and if you speak to them at all these days, like what the deal is with that.
Nope, we don't talk.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
I mean, I've reached out to him a couple times here and there. I want to say the last time I reached out to him was when my son was born.
Okay.
And sent him some photos or something and didn't even get a response back. And then at some point, like people, I don't know if people grow apart or what it may be. I don't know. I don't even know what it is.
Yeah.
But, at some point, if you're reaching out to friends and, and then not getting responses back, you just sort of go, why the fuck are we going to keep trying to stay in touch with somebody that doesn't give a fuck?
Right. Yeah.
But, then there's Billy and Paul, who I'm still friends with, and we catch up every once in a while, and life and shit like that. And I was at a show, maybe it wasn't last summer, the summer before, that they were playing, and I was there and went into the dressing room and saw Billy and Paul and hung out with them till everybody was pretty much gone. And Benj and Joe were in the room, and it was like they didn't even want to say hi. So I'm like, it is what it is, and but I'm still good friends with Billy and Paul. And
okay.
I mean, I was, honestly, always more friends with them anyways. Different people, different concepts of friendship,
And then just before we go into the quickfire round, I'm just curious, like, what current bands you're into these days? It can be any genre.
Dude, I'm still just fucking the fan of punk rock. I mean,
Happy to hear that.
I have my random shit that I listen to, that I grew up on, like when my dad showed me like CCR and shit like that, But been listening to The Interrupters, which is rad because it's like fucking listening to like when Rancid first came out, It was that exciting, like just fucking every song's a good fucking sing along. Listen to them a lot. New Millencolin record, which discussed, is a fucking rad record. Mm-hmm. Been listening to the Face to Face came out with that acoustic record, which I thought was fucking great.
Yeah.
Been listening to that a lot. I'd have to look at my fucking playlist, but like I said, I've got my fourth phone that I tried to get working. I went through 4 phones this week. So my my Spotify shit's not on there. So I can't even go back and look what I had been. I actually went back and listened to some old Goldfinger. We were doing like a bunch of throwback listens. But I have the same record. So I'm stoked that like the bands in my era and, a couple of years prior are putting out new records because it's exciting for me to fucking listen to something new.
Nick, unless there's anything else you want to ask, should we just dive into quickfire?
Yeah, let's go for it.
So like we tried to do these on most of the shows and they seem to go okay, but if there's anything, so we for the most part it's giving you a choice of 2 things or sometimes trying to cite your favorite thing of something, but like, if you can't answer something, it's all good, plenty of people have done that before.
Okay, you're saying quickfire. Okay, now okay. Right,
Chris, you always make that sound more complicated than it needs to.
Yeah, I do. I need to get better at explaining it, don't I?
All right. I'll start with the first one anyway. So I'm going to go with Destination Unknown or Mest self-titled.
That would be like saying which kid is your favorite kid.
Okay,
but you can still choose one.
You're not a parent, then you don't understand.
Yeah, I don't think
you can't choose a kid, man.
We're not getting an answer on that one. Fair enough. This in the same way, we'll not get you to reference track 3 from Wasting Time by
exactly.
Okay, a more simple one: Chicago or LA?
Fuck me, dude. Chicago because I grew up there. LA for the weather.
Okay, we'll accept that. Go on, Nick.
You're gonna get both.
Both or neither at the moment. So
right.
We've got a favorite band to tour with.
The favorite band that I have toured with?
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Fuck. Honestly, I have to say, fuck. Dude, this is way too hard. Man. Okay, there are different reasons for each band, man. There's different reasons and different eras of time in my life.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you this: craziest band we ever toured with, Unwritten Law. I've never done more drugs and partied harder in my life.
I mean, we've
surprise us.
We've hung out with Scott one time, and that doesn't shock us. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've got some fucking nutty stories from that tour.
Bet you have. Yeah.
But we just did. Can I combine it? I mean, the Bowling for Super Big Fish tour that we just did. It. We just did. It was a co-headlining tour, so I can combine it. Bowling for Soup and Real Big Fish, that tour that we just did over the summer, was fucking great. Every band member, every crew member got along. On our days off, we would go to the same fucking hotel, sit in the pool, get drunk. It was just the most friendliest, fucking non-egotistical, awesome tour that I've done in fucking years.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to say Bowling for Super Real Big Fish.
Nice.
As one.
Nice. Obviously, you don't have to answer this if you don't want to, but the polar opposite, so least favourite band you've toured with?
There is probably Catch-22.
Oh, really?
Well, that was our first headlining tour.
Yeah.
Us, Homegrown, and Madcap hung out. It was the same thing like I just described at the Bowling for Super Big Fish tour.
Yeah.
We hung out every night together, every day on our days off, had the most fun. Those guys, it was almost as if they weren't part of the tour.
Really?
And I don't know what it was, if they just didn't like us or what. So that would be the least, because they didn't care to be part of the tour in a way. That was it.
Okay. All right,
I mean, nothing personal. They just, I don't know.
Winning it.
It was like they weren't. They were just there. What do people usually say when that comes to that? Because that's talking shit.
I think I just threw that one in for this one, so apologies for that.
Okay.
I don't think I've ever put anyone on the spot in that same way, but good answer anyway.
Okay, next one is Warped Tour or Headline Tour?
Warped Tour.
UK or Australia?
Australia for sure.
Fair enough.
I love Australia. That's why.
Okay. I'm a little offended, but I'll forgive you. I know.
Dude, every time I've been in the fucking UK, it's cold and fucking. I've had, dude. The only time that the UK was decent in touring for me, I'm a weather person. Was the last tour that we did last summer?
Yeah, last August. Yeah, almost a year to the day.
Yeah.
It would have been hot then.
Every other tour I've ever done was during the winter time, and I was just fucking cold the entire time. And that's all I can think about when I think about UK. It's just rain and cold. It's like fucking Seattle, man.
Yeah, fair enough.
We do get a lot of people from UK moving to Australia and emigrating there. I think it's that warmer. Probably the closest thing you're going to get to the UK with the warm climates. So I can understand that.
Right.
Next one is MXPX or Good Charlotte.
MXPX.
Fair. We love Mike Herrera.
Music-wise, I've loved MXPX. Consistently writes great records, and I'm still friends. They're fucking sweet, good dudes. I'm still friends with them to this day.
Awesome. You sang for them one time on tour as well, if I remember.
I did. Right. Mike lost his voice, and I was the singer of MXPX for a week.
Fucking living the dream, that is. Feldman or Cameron Webb?
Cameron Webb.
I thought you might say that.
I thank John for all he did.
Yeah.
But I just made our best record and had the most fun on this record of all the records I've done. So that's an easy answer.
Yeah, fair. Okay, we're getting towards the end, but we'll just fire through the last couple.
Yeah, we got favorite movie.
Probably. Fuck, man. Stand By Me.
Okay. Yeah, fair. Favorite TV show?
The Office.
UK or US?
Absolutely the US. Come on. There wasn't even a UK one. It was like one season or 6 episodes or some shit.
We got 2 left. Favorite food?
Seafood. I'll sit there for hours, and I'm not exaggerating, at like a seafood buffet.
Fair.
It's disgusting.
And finally, what favorite Mest song?
Again, you can't name a favorite kid.
That's lots of kids.
Yeah, that is.
It's too hard for me because, as you guys know, if you're Mest fans, there is a wide spectrum of songs that go from like Mother's Prayer to Reasons to Drawing Board to fucking Chance of a Lifetime to Burning Bridges, all different fucking style of songs. So it's like sonically listening to it one way or performing it. It's I can't, dude. I mean, if it makes you happy, I'll say Drawing Board.
Okay. Yeah, we'll go with that. And we'll leave things there, man. Just again, want to thank you so much for giving your time. It's been an absolute pleasure for both of us to talk to you at length like this, and we look forward.
Posted on that UK tour.
Yeah, and we'll keep a close eye on the record coming out and stuff.
Absolutely, and make sure that you tell the people listening to this, or I could just fucking tell them right now.
Go on.
Check out Masquerade because it's on all the platforms of people that listen to music, and check out at Anthony Lovato is my Instagram. That's where I post mostly the Mest shit because it's easier to do. All right, guys, you have a good one, man.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Hopefully see you over this way soon. All right, cheers, Tony.
All right, guys. Cheers.
Okay, and that was our chat with Tony Lovato. Just want to thank him again for giving us his time, and very much looking forward to hearing that new album.
Yeah, hope they managed to actually rebook that tour over here as well.
Definitely.
Couldn't get over here for, so hopefully we'll see them over here with them.
Yeah, always good to see
the next
them.
year or so.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Cool.
With that said, we'll hopefully we'll have a couple of new episodes out soon. But in the meantime, obviously, seek us out on Instagram, which is Wasting Time Podcast, Twitter, which is Wasting Time P, and subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast. Till next time.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye.